Creative Brain Candy by creators for creators.
You're listening to Simply Stogies, a monthly podcast dedicated to the cigar enthusiast. Light up a stogie, sit back and relax while James brings you along on his journey as a new cigar smoker. Simply Stogies will review cigars, discuss topics that cigar aficionados find important, and will probably learn a few things along the way. Now, here's your host of Simply Stogies, James.
Welcome to Simply Stogies. I am your host, James. As you might be able to tell from the background noise, depends on how great of an editor I really am. I am live downtown Orlando, Florida, with Lucas de Silva. He is the owner, founder, creator, the man behind Oxford Cigar Company. Lucas, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you.
Before we get to Lucas, visit creativebraincandy.com. Check out the great family of podcasts we have there, including the brand new one, Smoking and Drinking in Capes, from a couple of guys that think they know superheroes. That's right. Myself, Rob, and Jason are now covering superhero movies the same way we cover sci-fi movies. Check it out. Smoking and Drinking in Capes, creativebraincandy.com. All right. So now that the shilling is over, I'm done pimping. Lucas, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it being here.
So, like I said, we're downtown Orlando, and I wasn't sure what to expect when I showed up here. So this is a bar. This is a nightclub, bar, car.
Yeah, so this is crazy. It's a rock and roll memorabilia museum on the second floor. It's an event hall place. Upstairs is a rock and roll memorabilia museum. There's a lot of bikes, arts, all sorts of things. So it's very biker orientated. Every day here there's essentially a car meet or some kind of bike meet. Thursday nights are crazy. I mean, we have, depending on good weather, we have 1,000 plus bikers. Like I said, so we have a full-blown restaurant, full bar. So it's a little different than most cigar lounges in Florida because you can't have smoke and food indoors.
Right.
And then we have a nice wide array of selections that we constantly rotate out.
Now, is this your bar?
No. So we're just a retailer
inside. Because this place is huge.
Yeah, so we're one of many retailers. So if you saw, there's Dainese Orlando here, which they sell Italian apparel, motorcycle, or the cigars. There's a Rockers is the apparel store. I mean, it's many businesses in one.
Many businesses in one. And it's a great spot, and you've got a humidor right when you walk in the door, and it's chock full of great stuff. But here's the question I have for you, because you said this wasn't your only retail location.
No.
But it is now because of COVID.
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
A lot of, as you can imagine, I mean, we even closed here for over 3 months during COVID. But believe it or not, it was also one of our busiest times.
Right.
I mean, we fell into the kind of essential business. So we were shipping in full throttle out of the warehouse, no problem. And we ended last year really high, on a really high note. I mean, we're one of the few retailers that ship worldwide. So it was really odd and really interesting, but we were shipping boxes of cigars to the most random places in the world that you would, Czech Republic.
Wow.
I mean, we have a lot of our clients overseas are Saudi Arabia, Australia, UK, but all these other countries, I guess, that were complete lockdown would order a lot of cigars. So we ended up, branching off quite a bit.
You're not the only cigar retailer to tell me that. In the last episode, Jeremy from Deep South Cigars said the same thing. I've been to numerous B&Ms that have said they're up year over year, and they were last year too.
Yeah.
It's just, it hits me a little bit different knowing that the cigar, right, not the healthiest thing in the world, but it blew up during COVID, where it's a disease that hits the lungs. It's a little ironic.
Well, that's one way to check if you have COVID or not. I guess if you start coughing and smoking a cigar, we can figure out right away.
Right?
So
if you can't taste it, you might have COVID.
But, I like to say it's a 6-foot rule. So if you're smoking a cigar, a lot of people that don't like cigars tend to step back. So there's your natural barrier.
That's right. It does. It keeps people away. So we're smoking, and you were kind enough to gift me the cocoa. from
Blackbird.
Blackbird Cigar Company. This is only my second Blackbird that I've had, and this is actually really good. I dig this a lot. So this is a Criollo wrapper, right?
Yeah. So it's got a little bit of, like everybody, they don't really disclose as much, but it's got some Brazilian tobacco, a little bit of Dominican, Nicaragua, and so forth. But I personally, this is out of all the Blackbirds, this is one of my favorites. Of course, the most popular one is the red, which is the Crow,
Yep.
and then the Unkind, the purple one.
I think I've had the Crow. The Crow was pretty good.
Yeah, but I gotta say their line is extensive. I mean, the Finch, all these other birds are amazing.
Yeah, this is really good. This is really good. Thank you for the cigar. So let's start, I guess, at the beginning, where all good stories start. How did you start smoking cigars?
So my first cigar was actually when I turned 18. I bought a lotto ticket and I got a cigar. I did not win anything on the lotto ticket. I will tell you that much. Okay, but at the time I was doing pre-med, and kind of enjoyed it. It was for me, a smoke is you can really sit down, relax, enjoy. I smoke socially. I don't smoke while I'm working, so it's that one thing that I do to unwind, and that's how I started. So me and my best pal would go to the local cigar shop and just unwind at least once a week from our busy, hectic, crazy, school lifestyle that everything was happening at once.
Sure.
And that's how I really started. But nobody in my family smokes except me. So,
really?
Yeah, I'm the nobody in my family smokes.
So it's just 18, I'm going to go pick up a cigar.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Just one of those things.
And it's stuck. Was it love at first puff for you? Or was it
I would say yeah. I remember my first, I'll tell you right now, my first cigar I smoked was a Diamond Crown Julius Caesar.
You remember?
Oh, yeah, I remember my first smoke. I mean, it's always, everybody always asks. So I started with Diamond Crown Julius Caesar. I mean, I figured it was middle of the line. I think at the time it was maybe $10, $12 a stick. But what really got me going was, I would always stick to that smoke, like everybody usually does. You stick to the one you know and you like. But then I got one bad one. And then I went to Padrones. I was smoking the 1000 series.
It just took one bad one.
And then same thing. Took a one bad one. But then after that, I just Christmas tree across the floor. I mean, I was just like, okay, I would go up to the, tobacconist and be like, well, tell me, what am I smoking today? And then he would be like, oh, this, that. And then my palate just developed from there.
So your stash at home, did it grow?
Actually, I'll be honest with you, even to this day, I only keep a select few cigars because, you can't smoke, get high off your own supply. So
you are the second person today that has compared selling cigars to selling drugs.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but the ones that I will store, I bring them out for very special occasions. Something that really means to me, whether I pick it up on a trip or whatever it is. But what really kicked off the business for me was this particular cigar called the CAO Amazon Basin. I'm sure you remember that.
Oh, I do. The OG was amazing.
Yeah, the original one.
Oh, yeah. So
the story goes, at the, I'm not going to say where, but the local cigar shop that we would go smoke at, that particular cigar got completely sold out. And me being tech savvy and all this stuff, well, the older gentlemen and all that, the older crowd that I would hang out with asked me, well, Lucas, can you see if you can find it? And I basically found it for just right above cost.
Oh, wow.
And I ended up, I think, at the end of the day, it was like 25 boxes worth. Supplying everybody.
Massive split.
And then that big retailer bought the last batch of the Amazon Basins. And then that's when it got me thinking, well, if I made the big guy move, I might have something here. And that's kind of how...
That's how Oxford started.
That's how Oxford started, yeah.
I'm sure there are cigar clubs everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? And we're always doing splits. We're always doing... I mean, that's essentially what you did. You did a giant split, and it started a company.
Yeah, essentially.
How long have you been in business now?
So I've been in this tobacco business for over 6 years. Oxford just turned 3, April 28th.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so, and we've been doing good.
You guys have been doing good. I bought a couple of things from you guys. It always ships very well. Like, how seriously? You guys seem to take shipping pretty seriously.
Yeah, so that was always my thing. At the end of the day, whether, a lot of people look at it, I know we can say a lot of the major retailers, we try to stand out in the sense that, I want to go above and beyond in customer service. I believe the way we've grown our business is because we're giving quality first, and then and then later we get quantity.
Right.
So everything we've been trying to do has been, changing the whole customer service. Everything we ship basically is with Boveda packs. If you order singles or 5-packs, it comes with a Boveda pack. We usually don't open boxes unless, requested, because we have a lot of collectors. And now I think just as last week we opened 5 new accounts. So we're extending a lot from our cigar portfolio is getting immense every day.
But you guys had the warped 6102R. Is that the new one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, which is such a great stick. And I had already purchased some from another retailer. And then Evan from the blend was like, hey, he's got some more in stock. Here's like a discount code, like go nuts. And I was like, you can't pass that up.
Yeah, it's a good cigar.
It's a great cigar. Let's talk about relationships, because I'm a big B&M guy. I'm like, go support your local B&M. Like, you're a big online guy.
Mm-hmm.
You do a lot of online sales. How important are local B&Ms?
Well, they're very important. I still believe we should always support the local brick and mortar. I even do that when I go out of town, travel. It's shop courtesy. You go to any cigar retailer, you buy a cigar and enjoy it. I believe in competition. I think it's a great thing to have, especially, the way the cigar world is happening now. Because I know, as you're aware, we hit new highs on sales-wise, but then it also changed the cigar world. It seems like now it's like the craft beer world.
Oh, yeah.
It's back in its all-time high. It's the hot thing now to smoke cigars or to have your own cigar brand, per se. Now we have issues which most people, a lot of the big retailers, they either have a box problem or they don't have a tobacco.
And beyond that, there seems to be, if we want, let's talk about the industry for just a little bit. The industry seems to be pretty divided.
Yeah.
As a whole. It's funny, and I mentioned this on the last podcast. Someone had told me once that the industry is like a poker game in the Old West, where everybody above the table is laughing, having a good time, helping each other, drinks, smoking cigars. But underneath the table, they've got their guns drawn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very, even when I first started, it was very difficult in the sense that it's very old school mentality, whereas we try to really revolutionize the whole industry. If you look at our website, it's very intuitive. It's not very black and white per se. We try to be a little bit more. It's modern. Yeah, more modernized. For example, we do a lot with Warped, like you're saying. I love what Kyle did with the security bubble. Cohiba never did that, and look how many fake. I think like 70% of the Cuban market is fake.
Yep.
And it needs to develop, and we need to move on and grow from that.
So how do we do that, and how do you facilitate that as a retailer? Because the problem is they don't want to change. It's we've done it this way for years, and we're not going to change, and that doesn't cut it in 2021.
Well, now the change is coming, because I'll tell you right now, some inside information. A lot of even the big companies are going. If you look at it, now that they're going that craft route, so Romeo and all these other guys, they're still going to have their core line, but everybody's going boutique and small batch or things like that. And when that happens, then people are going to start being creative. Like another company that we're dealing with a lot now is Viaje. So if you look at Viaje, it's small batch, take it, and that's it. Because I don't know if you know, but for example, is it Altadis or General? One of the big ones. Every Thursday in the factory in Nicaragua or Dominican, they have the general meeting, and they sit there and smoke all the cigars unbanded, and just constantly tweak the blend to try to get it exactly over and over and over. Because that's the biggest issue that a lot of people don't realize. You smoke the original Amazon Basin versus the one now. It is different.
It is very different.
Smoke a Liga T52 from the original to now, I guarantee you, they all change. So,
well, and that's the challenge that master blenders have, right?
Yeah.
Is to keep it the same year after year, crop after crop, and that's a hard thing to do, and that goes into, what a premium hand rolled cigar is. But my concern would be is if you have all these large companies starting to go small batch because they see what small batch is doing, what's that do to your boutique companies?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's going to create that demand that, you got to buy now or else it's gone.
Right.
Right. Which I hope it'll be, like I really like what Boveda did with the whole Boveda Butler. We sold a lot of those, just taking the whole ease thing of how to keep your humidification and all that. What Half Wheel did is release that article that, you can basically put your cigars in Tupperware. I hope it becomes a sense that you can age cigars, you can experiment and things like that. And then hopefully people build on their portfolios, because that's how I learned to appreciate cigars. And I know a lot of people, when we do our events, there's a lot of people that have their first cigar with us, and they're like, oh, wow, this is amazing, just because we paired their palate correctly. So, I mean, I would say as long as we keep the knowledge and the quality up, I mean, I think everybody can be a smoker in the end of the day. Just like, your dad gave you your first beer, you're probably like, ugh, I hated it, but, I mean...
You learn to appreciate it.
You learn to appreciate it once you find the one that works for you.
Yep, absolutely. So what kind of events do you do?
I prefer the niche of the car world and automotive world. We do a lot of high-end car shows. I mean, that's really our niche. So if there's anything happening, whether it's Mecum or Barrett-Jackson, I'm the cigar guy. I mean, we do all of them all over the country. So hopefully,
Is there a big cigar community in the car community?
No.
No.
We kind of created that.
Okay.
So, I mean, it just became an idea that, a lot of people do the barn smokes and things like that to smoke out. But I went the different route because I figured, first of all, you're buying a high-end car, so there's
You've got some disposable income.
There's disposable income, yeah. But it's also, for me, just like I appreciate smoke, it's something to celebrate, something joy, celebrate life, I mean, that's usually, if you hear most people that when they ask you, when's the last time you smoked a cigar that haven't really smoked? Oh, I smoked it at a wedding, a bachelor party, whatever. So we focus on creating that experience. And the car world has brought us that experience.
So how do those events work? Do you have like a traveling, like a mobile humidor that you take out and you set up shop?
Yeah, so we literally, we used to ship literally the acrylic tower humidors until UPS destroyed them. But
of course,
now we ship everything with Boveda, so it arrives fresh and stored. We just throw it in there. We have the acrylic humidors, and we set up shop like that. And
wow,
I mean, but we don't just set up a table selling cigars. I mean, we do really create a lounge, and a lot of our, a lounge experience has a lot of business that happens at the same time. I can tell you one of our craziest shows was Barrett-Jackson, West Palm Beach. I mean, we literally set up across the staging lanes. So right as the cars line up to go to the auction arena, people are sitting there and you can see the cars line up, and it became, a crazy event because you can imagine people, the high rollers would just sit there, smoke cigars all day.
Yeah.
And then they'll send the scouts, buy that car. I mean, do this. And we did that one with Zycar. And Larry, that used to work with Zycar, brought every cigar product you can imagine. And I remember this one vividly. There's a guy looking at a Shelby Cobra, blue, beautiful color, original color. And if you remember that XO with the black blades, the blue one.
Yeah.
Look, if you buy that car, I'll give you that Zycar XO. And he bought the car and he gave it to him. So
wow.
I mean, the things we've seen. I mean, it's crazy.
Is that the craziest thing you've seen? What is the craziest thing you've seen?
Oh, I mean, if you know cars, I mean, I could tell you some events we do. Well, we did one event for Trump at Mar-a-Lago.
No kidding.
Yeah, that was insane. Also a nightmare. A nightmare.
I could imagine.
I mean, with Secret Service and all that. I don't even know if I can say this, but there was a Secret Service once wanted a cigar, but you can't physically hand it to him. So we had to do like an exchange. I handed it to the hotel staff, and then he handed it to the Secret Service guy because I couldn't. I mean, it was just these things I seen. I mean, it's crazy.
That's insane. So, are you a car guy?
Yeah, I am. I'm a big car guy. Yeah.
What do you got? Like I saw, so you pointed out the truck, which is fantastic. You've got the Oxford Cigar Company truck over there, which I completely missed driving up. So it's a 4-hour trip from where I was at in Georgia, and I just got done doing a podcast with the guys at Black Label Cigar. I'm trying to drive downtown Orlando. Like I'm a guy from the Midwest. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I come in here and I'm like, is this the place? Is this where I'm supposed to be? And I like got my head down. I didn't even look, and you're like, did you not see the car? I'm like, no, I didn't see the car. You got the car out there with the Oxford Cigar Company logo on it. It looks super nice. So
the truck is a new thing. We really came out with the truck recently because, like I said, we do a lot of these car shows, but, it's like, well, maybe we need to have an event vehicle. So we have an FJ Cruiser, as if everybody knows, it's this off-roader look Jeep thing. But when we were planning on doing it, there's an awning that we have on top that wraps around 270 degrees, 6.5 feet. So it's literally going to pop up.
Oh, wow.
And the back has ports for AC. So we're going to put a coffee machine and a humidor. So it's going to be literally, we can set up and everybody have a smoke wherever it is.
That is awesome.
So that's the plan with that.
That's awesome. Wow. You're going all out.
Yeah, that's what we do.
But you've got to, right? Because it's just, like, when people think cigars, they think luxury, they think disposable income, they think high end, they think class.
Yeah.
So you've got to kind of do that stuff,
yeah,
right?
But the thing is, as well, I know cigars is the chic and thing to do, but we really serve everybody. I mean, I can tell you, we've done events, little events, craft beer festival in the middle of the land. We have a line like a Starbucks. We've done some high-end, all suit and tie events that's, completely different galas. It really depends where, but we cater to everything.
And that kind of goes to what the cigar is, right? Because from kings to street sweepers, everybody in between, it's a great equalizer.
Yeah.
You sit down, you can talk with a CEO, you can talk with a janitor. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that's really why I love the cigar world more than anything. It's the people we bring together. I mean, I met you through a cigar.
Right, absolutely.
Things like that. I mean, and like you were saying, Evan from the blend, he reached out to me, and I mean, first of all, I say that to everybody, but not everybody asks. Just reach out if you're looking for something. If we can accommodate, we'll do our best. I mean, that's really where I focus on.
Give us the website.
OxfordCigarCompany.com.
OxfordCigarCompany.com.
You can find it. I need more cigars.com, OxfordCigarCo.com. We have all those. So you're covered.
So you're covered.
You're covered. Don't worry.
Nice. What is your favorite cigar right now?
So, as Evan will say, and he'll tell you, I'm a big Avo fan. I'm a big Avo. I met him. I used to hang out with the guy a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We go back and forth. But I would say if anybody's listening out there and you get your hands, because we completely sold out, but it was discontinued now, announced this year, but the Avo Domain, number 50 or the number 20 are by far my favorites if you can get your hands on those. I love Padron because I feel...
It's Padron.
Yeah, but you know what it is with Padron? It's just a quality.
It is. It absolutely...
They're consistent over and over and over and over and over. I love Crooks, so we have a account with them, and really educating the brand and all that. But if you saw the boxes in the humidor, I mean, they're beautiful, and it's really cool. He's got the the little flavor notes, very modernized box. I'm a big Warp fan, of course. I love the La Hacienda. I mean, it's a regular for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. I mean, there's a lot of good smokes. It really depends on the mood. So that's how I pick my cigars. I go by, first in the morning, I'm going to smoke probably something light. And then towards the end of the evening, I smoke something heavier. But I tend to be more medium to full body.
Let's talk about the industry a little bit. Let's talk about the PCA. PCA post-COVID. Do you think it needs to change?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
I mean, quite frankly, we're not going to TPE.
So you're not going to TPE or PCA?
We might go to PCA, but I mean, my big thing with TPE is, if you've gone to any of these events as a retailer, it's really where we meet and do business. I mean, it's a huge, room, and then you can smoke, go in between vendors, and retailers, really put the face-to-face. I mean, some of our reps, we didn't even see our reps this year, just phone call or text message.
Right.
So, I mean, this year they're limiting that you can only smoke in between booths. I mean, I'm not going to sit there. We have all these meetings. There's tons of vendors that go to a lot of these things.
Oh, yeah.
But if you notice, a lot of these guys canceled because of the cost.
It's interesting you bring that up. I was talking to a retailer in the Midwest just recently. He said if you look at what General does, it's $250,000 for the space.
Yeah.
But then you've got the construction of the booth. You've got to pay the union guys for that. You've got to pay for shipping the cigars there, shipping all of the materials there, shipping all the materials back, paying the union guys to it's $1 million cost to do these shows. And when you think about how it's changed, and even the nature of your business, which is mostly online, right? Everything's online. Why isn't this?
Well, see, and that's the thing too. So when we open a new account, we don't just open a new account just because it's a great, it's a requested cigar. We really try it out first. Some cigars don't pass the test. I will tell you that.
Really?
Yeah. When myself and the staff we smoke, it's like, well, this is not consistent.
Is it a quality thing you're looking for?
It's a quality thing because we also have a guarantee.
Right.
A lot of people don't even know that. But let's say you buy a box of this cuckoo, you smoke the first 5, and you're like, well, I didn't like it. Well, you can return it. We'll credit you for the rest.
If you don't like it?
Yeah, if you don't like it.
How many people take advantage of that?
Nobody. Because,
I would hope not.
But, but once again, we're trying to give you the best customer service. As long as, and you can tell if the cigar is smoked or not, if it's bad. So, but there's some cigars that we try, that we get, samples of, and like, well, this is burning off. It's, how am I going to sell you a premium product, which is a luxury right now that we're able to enjoy, and you can't enjoy it comfortably and really see your money's worth. That's not what we believe in.
So how many people do you have on staff that will sit down and go through a cigar?
Usually about 3 to 4.
3 to 4.
So it really depends when we can sit down and have time and really, smoke. And sometimes I'll give it to our VIP customers that are around. Especially, like, for example, some of these orders got delayed. We usually ship out, like, somebody, here, try this out. I could see how much you spend. We really go above and beyond that. I'm not going to be, I don't want to say any name, but like, some of these, my major competitors online that, oh, you buy this great box of Monte Cristos, but you get all these bundle half cigars. That's not what we're about. I think you should try this, we'll include it. We'll give you some swag here and there, whatever,
Right, because it's all about customer service.
Exactly.
Right. And that's what sets you apart from your larger competitors. It was really nice when I opened the box from you guys and there was a handwritten note in there. There's only 2 other retailers I could think of online that do that, and even that's hit or miss, right? If they're swamped, it doesn't happen. But you guys, it was a very nice handwritten note. You guys do that with every order?
Yeah, every order. Every order has a thank you note.
Good God.
And depends. Sometimes we get messages back when customers place an order, like, "Oh, Lucas, I love the cigar," and then, then they'll write, "Well, glad you like it." Whatever it is, they'll add up. It's not just always a thank you or cheers. Sometimes they write out a life in the story almost. And that's I don't know. Now we also transitioned the bags. I don't know if you noticed with your last order, but we used to sip. Really in Ziploc bags, and then with Bovedas, now we have like food grade bags. They're full bags and inside to really hold the moisture and all that. It's kind of the things that we're really focusing on.
Right. So now you're focusing on the little things that just take it above and beyond. That's what the handwritten note does too. It's just a little thing that not everybody does that really says, "Hey, thank you very much. Like, we're focused on you, the customer." So that's a big deal.
Yeah, because without them, I wouldn't be here.
Right. Right. None of us, if the people weren't smoking cigars, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're not going to TPE. You might go to the PCA?
Yeah, I might go to the PCA.
So I'll be there. So we'll be there. So if you're there, definitely hook up with us then, because we want to talk about the show and talk about what's going on. Like, who in the industry is doing it right. So we talked a little bit about how the industry has kind of been stagnant for the longest time, and now things like people are starting to change. Is there anybody in the industry that really stands out that you're like they're doing it? Whether or not you like the product is kind of irrelevant. It's more of, because here's the thing. As an online retailer, you're pretty social media savvy, right?
Well, we try to be.
I'm
really not. FYI.
I hate social media
Yeah.
myself. But your company is very social media savvy, right? There's not a lot of, it's starting to change a little bit, but B&Ms and manufacturers aren't really into the social media game.
No, they're not. It's because, once again, it's the mentality that this is an older product for an older generation. It's really not. I can tell you right now, from our numbers, a lot of the people that smoke cigars right now, the largest demographics, it's young entrepreneurs and millennials. I mean, like I said, it's a cool thing to smoke. I mean, in talking about that, I think that the biggest thing that we'll see in our time now this year is definitely going to be the flavor ban. That's coming down the wire, I believe.
You do think that's going to happen?
Oh, that's going to happen for sure.
Do you think that's going to affect the numbers of new smokers? Because a lot of new smokers come in on the flavor wagon, right?
Yeah,
They're like,
that will for sure. I mean, we saw a lot of like Deadwood products, which honestly, I can't even justify that's really flavor, because it's pipe tobacco, but it's not like the acids that are
right.
Artificially.
Yeah, they're not infused.
Yeah, it's different, but those are big entry level for a lot of customers. I mean, especially the Tatianas as well. We saw a lot of those at our events.
Really?
The honey and the vanilla and the chocolate go like hotcakes. People love it.
But that's how a lot of people get introduced to the hobby, right? If that goes away, are you afraid that your numbers are going to plateau?
Because it'll still be the cool thing to do, the hangout thing. I mean, at the end of the day, it's one. If there's one thing I'm willing to give up, it will be the flavor stuff. Honestly,
really,
I just my biggest thing is that I hate those. I hate the distinction that the FDA is trying to compare them to cigarettes. I mean, recently we had issues with our PayPal. They got back to us. They closed because they're like, you're selling cigarette products. We're like, guys, this is premium hand roll. I mean, the best way I say it, if you're smoking something with a filter that needs to be put first, then there's probably something wrong with it in the first place.
Right.
This is natural. There's no filter behind this. It's hand roll. I mean, if you've been to a farm, you've seen how the arts and craft to make a single cigar, how long it takes. You factor all that thing in, and you're paying a little, fraction of what it takes.
Well, and that's a good point. And I think I brought this up on the last podcast. I'm surprised that no one has tried to fight the FDA on First Amendment grounds, because this is an art. From how it's rolled, how it's blended, how it's from seed to shelf, it is an art.
Yeah, I mean, but it is weird to say. I mean, but if you look at it this year, we're also giving up a lot of rights. I was driving over today, looking at some of the news. I don't know if you saw it, like, there's a new thing now that Apple did an update now. You know how we say, "Hey Siri"?
Right.
You can say now, "Hey Siri, I'm being pulled over," and it'll start recording for safety reasons. Like, I mean, you look at these things, like, we're starting to give up a lot. That's what worries me, because at the end of the day, this is what, I mean, I'm not originally born and raised here. I was born and raised in Brazil. I came here for, a land of opportunity, per se. That's why we really moved here. And actually, if you looked at the, what's that movie, Hand Roll?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the cigar manufacturers, same thing. They were prosecuted out of Cuba and went to Nicaragua and so forth. Because at the end of the day, we just want to be able to enjoy this premium product. I mean, it's not harming anybody. It's your own will. It is what it is.
Is that what scares you the most?
Yeah, losing up our rights. I for sure. I mean, and I know you saw this Cigar Aficionado announced today that China is the largest consumer of Cuban cigars now. First time. I mean, and that's a communist country.
Right. Yeah. Like, we could talk all day long about not being able to have Cuban cigars here. I think it's ridiculous. and it's kind of the short-sightedness of the government as a whole. Look, when you start to, and I think I've said this before as well, but when you start to mess with a product that is really a worldwide product, right?
Yeah.
Because these are grown in the Dominican, in Nicaragua, in Costa Rica, in Peru, all over the world.
Yeah.
And they're on these small farms, and these people don't make a lot of money compared to what we make here in America, right?
But
And
if you look at what the cigar industry has done,
what they've done, exactly.
created towns.
If you take that away, you're not just messing with local mom and pop shops here in America. You're messing with small farms across the world.
Yeah, I mean, but then, and it's ridiculous to say that because you look at some of these, I mean, you know, like mass-produced products like Nikes, iPhones, you know, it's, you know, pumping out stuff. I mean, I remember, I don't know if you recall this in the movie, the hand rolled, it's like how many millions of cigarettes are made in a day. Like, I think it was like 350 million.
Yep.
And compared to a cigar, I think a cigar is like 1% is made a day or something
Exactly.
like that.
It's ridiculous. And it's such a different. It's funny because my mom asked me last night because I was, you know, I'm staying with them. We're on vacation. Came down to see the parents so the kiddo could hang out with the grandparents. I was smoking a cigar and she asked me, she goes, "What's the difference between a cigar and a cigarette?" She's like, "I honestly don't know."
Oh, I tell them all the time. I'm like, well, one's got a filter and one doesn't.
Yeah. Like one's completely natural. The other one is infused with all kinds of chemicals.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, it's crazy. And there's not enough. And that's why I always say you've got to support your local B&M, right? Because they're the ones who are on the front lines really shepherding people into the hobby.
Yeah. And taking the hit. Because, I mean, even for this is great location we have, you know, how many pushback we have, you know, to open up a shop. I mean, Florida is one of the best states to do it, but it's super difficult. It's not easy.
It's super difficult everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, but I would say across this, you know, the other 49 states, it's even harder.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, all these excess tax. I mean, like that's why a lot of our clientele online, to be honest with you, is a lot of California and New York. I mean, their prices are ridiculous.
78% tax in New York? Something ridiculous like that.
I think they even raise it now. It's over 100, I think. It's something stupid.
That's crazy. That's crazy, but it keeps guys like you in business.
Yeah, I agree. But then you look at it now, where they're trying to do the tax laws for across internet commerce. I mean, that also opens up a whole another can of worms. You know, how you're gonna tax this product across state lines. I mean, are we becoming a big union or are we becoming separate states? What is it?
What are we doing here?
Yeah, what are we doing? I mean, I would say those are the biggest things across for the cigar industry. But I'm pretty certain the biggest straw is going to be the flavor ban for sure.
That's just, it's just short-sighted.
Yeah.
It's just very short-sighted. I don't understand how they can throw the two together, but they definitely try.
Well, if you gone now and you see like Beverly Hills, for example, there's only 3 cigar shops that will ever be there.
Yeah.
And they really only got grandfathered in because a lot of those celebrities, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Stallone, and all these guys petitioned for it. I mean, luckily he's got a lot of political pull, and he was able to do that. But that's it.
Right, but why not help everybody out? And like, he just helped those 3 cigar shops out, and now they don't have any competition. And competition, I think, is healthy. A rising tide raises all ships, right?
Because I mean, look how many different SKUs we have.
How many SKUs do you carry right now?
Oh, it's stupid. I mean, and that's why I say for people to always ask us if they don't see something online, because we're constantly going through inventory. So not everything that we can get and have constantly, we you know, sometimes some things are in the store first before they go online. So we're constantly working. That's why I always have, if you're looking for something particular, just ask. And that's what Evan did. That's how we started a relationship. He wanted the HVC Black Friday.
Which is a great smoke.
Yeah, great smoke. And he asked, and you know, I just asked my rep, one text call away. Yeah, I have 1 box. All right, no problem. Here you go. I mean, it's, you know, and it helps too that everybody's basically either in Miami or was it North Carolina?
Yeah, like you're right in the middle.
Yeah, we're in a sweet spot in the middle.
Yeah.
So most it would take for us to get a cigar, it's usually 5 days, and I say that's a lot for Dapper that we do a lot of that come out of California, and then Tatuaje, of course.
You guys have good relationships with Tatuaje?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, we just, we sold out. We had this deal, La Mission 1959, the one I think I made number 3 or number...
Yeah.
It was somewhere in the top 10.
It was in the top 10 for sure.
We had a deal that, you buy a box and you get the espresso set. And the espresso set, by the way, anybody that got that, I'm sure they will also agree with me. It's a killer espresso set.
Really?
Oh, it's a beautiful set.
I'm sad I missed it now.
Yeah. But, just things like that. So we're always trying to create value in some way.
What's next for Oxford Cigar Company? Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
So, honestly, we hope to keep building the e-commerce out because that way it extends our reach to a lot of people, new smokers, regular smokers, so forth. We're working on hopefully having a private club per se, especially now in this day and age. I don't, as great as our retail does, but we really want to create a nice atmosphere for any cigar smoker to partake and enjoy, and just have your own lounge, especially now when everybody's basically home. You need to get out at some point.
Right. I think that's coming. I hope that's coming.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're going to have a lounge?
Yeah, private members only.
Private members only lounge. You know where you scouted spots yet?
Yeah, we've been actually, it's been a search for over a year and a half.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's been a nightmare. It's because then city looks at it and all this stuff, and then booze regulations, things like that.
How hard is it?
It's stupid hard.
Really?
Yeah, not every city likes it. It's the problem is, I don't want to say a lot of retailers, but if you compare a cigar shop or a cigar retailer, whatever you want to call it, compared to the ones we have in the States to the ones in Europe, it's a different class.
How so?
It's a whole proper lounge experience. It's more high end. I know, even though they carry less SKUs, of course, because it's mainly Cubans, but some of the best lounges I've been are overseas in Europe. I can tell you that right now. There's one in Amsterdam that's beautiful. It's got this whole piano in the middle, downstairs lounge. They can go put your Nespresso pod.
So it's a quintessential lounge. When you think of a lounge in your head, that's what you're thinking.
Yeah,
of.
exactly. Because we don't want to be we started doing. I tested out. We started using rabbit airs. Proper instead of using smoke eaters. Because there's a lot of places I can tell you right now I can go to, and I can't. I'm a big cigar smoker, but I can't sit inside because you just get smoked out.
Get smoked out, absolutely.
Yeah. So, looking for the proper setup and just making it enjoyable, affordable, and everyone can partake.
So where do you see the industry in 5-10 years?
Well, see, that's the scary thing. I could tell you from what we've seen this year, I think a lot of people pivoted, and I think the ones that pivoted did well, pick up curbside or so forth. I think that was genius. Thank God they allowed that, which I don't even know how, because I could see some people, how are you going to check somebody's ID or so forth?
Yep.
But if one thing I can say, looking at it, how the alcohol industry has survived this long, right? For example, the wine business. There's still a lot of states that you can still order wine online and still ship to your house. So I see it surviving. I see it thriving. I just will tell you that from what I see is that it's going to be craft cigar world now. It's not going to be so much. Not everybody's going to smoke the Romeos, the Monte. It's going to be across the board.
You think it's coming small batch across the board?
Yeah, it's coming for sure. Which is good, like I said, because I can tell you, it's like we were talking about bringing Cubans, right? Well, the problem is majority of them are fake. And if you've been to Cuba and you've seen how they do production, every Monte Cristo, Cohibas, and everything is produced in one factory. The government controls everything. They go to the farms, they pick 90% of the best tobacco, and then the other stuff is, left to the farmers make their stuff. And then we have a lot of people that come to the shop. It's like, oh, Lucas, I have this great Cuban cigar, and I can look at it from a mile away and I can tell you it's fake.
Fake, yeah.
But the best part is when you ask them, well, here, I'll tell you what, not to offend anybody, but I'll give you a cigar We'll exchange, okay? And let me crack this open and show you what you're smoking. And I can tell you right now how many horrific Cuban stories. I open cigars and I seen hair, pebbles,
Oh, yeah.
shards of metal. I mean, we call that the Cuban sandwich, whatever you pick up on the floor.
Yeah. It's just the sweepings.
Yeah, and, I hope that people, I know it's this stigma that, oh, you got to have what what you can't get. But I hope that doesn't deter away a lot of new smokers.
No, and it shouldn't. I think when I first got into the hobby, it was, well, I want a Cuban because I can't get a Cuban. And then you start getting Cubans and you're like, well, these are good, but I can have better quality consistently from a non-Cuban than I can from a Cuban.
Yeah. And that's how we do a lot overseas, because these guys are paying these outrageous prices for these Cubans. And then you come in with a Nicaraguan or Dominican cigar that goes toe to toe and it's half the price at least, then they really see the value then.
How is shipping overseas? Is that a nightmare sometimes?
So, to be honest with you, our biggest shipping problem has been in the States.
No kidding.
Yeah. USPS is a nightmare.
Yeah. USPS is terrible. Objectively terrible.
Yeah, it's like these guys create so much issues for us. They don't scan the packages. Like, where is it? We ship everything, first of all, first class or priority mail.
Yep.
Okay? But you're lucky if you get it within 3 days. All right?
Right.
And that's why we focus on, like I said, shipping with Boveda and all that to ensure, it comes to you fresh. The packs that we have now that we ship, it can stay up to 3 months, no problem.
Shipping with Boveda, that's an added cost to you guys.
Yeah.
And you eat that.
Yeah, we do.
You don't put that into the cost of the cigars. You guys eat that, and that just goes to the quality that you're trying to give your customers.
Yeah, and exactly, and that's the other thing too. And to be quite frank, we usually don't discount our product. We do price match. We have great prices like everybody else.
If you want to talk prices, you're right in line with what some of the big guys are.
Yeah.
When you go into a B&M, you know immediately you're going to pay 15 to 20% more than what you're going to pay online. But you're paying for the experience. You're paying to support your local B&M. You're paying
to sit there.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And to commiserate with other brothers and sisters of the leaf. When you buy online, it's for your consumption. And so it should be a little bit cheaper. You guys are able to make those deals that local B&Ms can't. I think that there is a way for both to coexist. I know that there are B&Ms that hate online.
Yeah.
And there are online that hate B&Ms.
Yeah, but it's one of those things, it's just because they don't know, and they don't know how much value. Like, look what Cigar Pack did. They work with a lot with BMNs and introduce new brands. I forgot which one. There's this other one that I saw Boveda Rob pushing a lot, was that they take the bands out, and it's just, wrapped, so it's a blind taste test. Those things I think are awesome. But it's just how you educating and bringing the customers. The other thing is too that we really try to push a lot is you'll get discounts on our website if you just be part of the family.
Right.
And we say that in a sense, do the reviews. Every dollar you spend, you get 1 point. Okay. You write a review, it's 75 points. And that's just not just for us, but it's also for the manufacturer, for the consumer to look, okay, which one's got the best reviews? At the end of the day, we're all, like you said, brothers and sisters of the leaf. So, that's how we hope. And I got to tell you, we have a lot of people that get free boxes all the time. They just rack up their points. Our point system never expires. So there's users right now with 5,000 plus points. And then when they want something, exclusive, to get a free box of, something rare, limited. It happens all the time. But that's how we create you and give you discounts.
Are the manufacturers okay with that? Are they cool with that?
Yeah, because it's part of the rewards program. It's the biggest thing that I will say that right now on the online that really ticks me off is because we all have manufacturers agree pricing.
Right.
And to be honest with you, there's a lot of manufacturers, a lot of online retailers that don't respect that. That is an issue, because then we have customers like yourself that shopping around, clicking one click away. Well, I get this for this price. We'll price match it, but then it's like, well, what do?
So there's a manufacturer that I'm thinking of, McAuliffe, where they have cut out online retailers altogether
Mhm.
to support their local B&Ms. And I get that from a certain point of view. I understand it, but they're cutting out a huge swath of their customers.
Yeah, but then again, they probably have that issue that they don't have enough product.
Do you think that's what it is? Just not enough product to move?
I mean, I'll tell you, when we're getting our LFD and Illusion Bowls, okay, it's a still high demand, number one of the year, but in the really, I would say, middle of last year, we weren't getting them in boxes anymore. We were getting them in bundles, and they were all individually cellophaned with a Boveda pack in the middle. Now, I will tell you, those were some of the best bowls out because the fact that they kept them cellophane and protected with the big Boveda 60 gram in the middle.
Oh, they had a 60 gram in the middle.
I believe it was a 60 gram.
Damn.
It kept it really fresh.
Wow.
So, I mean, because I didn't have boxes.
Right. But the box is beautiful.
The box is beautiful. But I can tell you right now, there's so many different beautiful boxes out there. I mean, that's one cost that I will say, if a lot of these manufacturers get away with, I would get rid of the box, especially to get into through customs and so forth. I mean, you're paying for weight. Like, I hate it when we have boxes that they put the piece of cedar in there because it's deceiving. Because then you think you have a lot more, and then you open it through. Oh, well, I'm missing 2 cigars or 1 cigar. I mean, just make up the difference. Whereas I like, for example, I don't know, you remember the Avo regional editions?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Those were cardboard boxes. That wasn't a box.
Was that because of COVID? I know that manufacturers, because of COVID, were having a hard time sourcing boxes.
I don't know if it was because of COVID per se, but it was just really nice. Avoid the cost, make it less than hassle on shipping, and then throw Boveda or whatever humidification pack you can put in there. That's where I hope a lot of people do.
So you're hoping they just do away with boxes altogether?
Yeah, because it's.
Well, I know in countries like Australia, I think, and Canada, like the box has to be covered up.
Yeah.
And the bands have to be off.
And now they have the huge, cancer label, like a picture of a lung that looks like it's got,
Right. That they've been smoking a pack of Marlboro Unfiltered for...
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, I can live without the boxes because it also gives the small guy a fair shot too. Because you got to figure, we started dabbling in the manufacture. We have our own cigar, but it's only for event only. But when we're looking at the cost for bands and boxes,
it's insane.
It's insane. I mean, sometimes it's more expensive than the cigar itself.
I just had this conversation with the guys that I just came from, Deep South Cigar, and they're like, the bands are crazy expensive to make.
And then it hurts the small guy because he'll look at it, well, do I make a great cigar that's going to sit in the shelf because nobody's going to really pick at it because it doesn't look as beautiful as a Julius Caesar or, anything like that?
Right.
Because I can tell you right now, as a retailer, you can see that all the time. They window shop, right? And then you have all the pretty labels, like Perdomo, for example. I would say they have some of the best labels in the industry.
Oh, for sure.
The 20th anniversary and so forth. But I know, Nick, we were talking about it, IPCPR 1 year. He's like, yeah, we'll get them in pallets from, it's a Netherlands company that gets them all printed.
Oh, jeez.
But he can afford that, but a lot of people can't.
A lot of people can't. No, and the plates, I was just talking with Jeremy about this. The plates that you've got to strike.
Oh, it's
like $100 a plate for each color that has to be struck.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. It depends if you do embossing, color.
Embossing adds cost, and you get them in mile rolls. So it's not like you can buy small rolls. You're getting a mile roll.
You got to buy thousands at a time.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. So you would that save the consumer?
Yeah, that would. And
how much? Like on a cigar, let's say a $15 premium cigar, you do away with the boxes and you cut down on the band. How much is that going to save a consumer?
I mean, it can save a lot, honestly.
$5?
At least, I would say. It really depends on the band, but it could save a lot.
Because as a guy who's still relatively new to the hobby, I've only been in it for almost 3 years now. That's how I used to shop for cigars. That's got a neat band. I'll try that.
It must be great. It has a great rating or whatever.
Yeah.
But honestly, if the way I say this, don't be when you go to any cigar retailer and think, don't be so deceived by color, right? Because a lot of people, oh my God, it's really dark. It's going to be, a killer. Well, you can go for the dark one and so forth, but then do a different cut. So you do a punch, less draw, okay?
Yep.
Or do a V in the middle. And kind of Christmas tree it. But really, the best way I would say is you look for, feel it. Does it look like a solid construction? Is it triple cap? Is it double capped? I mean, that's how we kind of do our tastings per se, because we the way I do it is we do DTC PV. So draw, taste, construction. Okay, and you rate it out of 5, out of 10, whatever you want to do. Most of them right now, I would say, hit it all day. But then the biggest swing vote is the price per value.
Yep.
And that happens constantly. And you're like, yeah, it's not worth it. Then I wouldn't buy it again.
No, $30 cigars are great, but I'm not smoking those every day, all day.
Yeah, they got to be an amazing.
Right. They're going to have to really hit it out of the ballpark for me to go, yeah, I'm going to buy a box.
Yeah.
You know a lot about cigars. You are extremely knowledgeable about cigars. As an online retailer, how do you translate your knowledge to your customer? Because your customer is predominantly online.
Yeah, see, and that's the hard part. Because if you look, I mean, we try to be as elaborate as possible, right? By abiding by regulations. So a lot of our cigars, we sit down with the manufacturer. Okay, give me, let's go by tasting notes. What can you tell me about it? It's sad that a lot of people don't disclose so much. I mean, I'm good friends with Adrian Acosta. He's the one that created the cigar culture.
Yeah.
But he's the only one I would say right now that if you look at the back of the bundle that comes with the cigar, it's a 10-pack, he's got everything disclosed in there. Exactly. This is Habano 2000 from 2005. He's the only guy that does that. I wish more would do that, because then, yourself or any rookie that's looking, well, I really like the cigar. Well, then you look at it, well, because it had the Jalapa wrapper, or I had Mexican San Andreas, then I know to stick with that because I like that spiciness and all that.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, binder and filler are just for burn and construction and to hold the cigar together. But, the best way I would say is you look at a cigar and don't be so intimidated by sizing. Try to stick under Toros is my recommendation. I know everybody tries to go for the larger cigars because they feel like I'm getting the best
value, yeah. Bang for the buck.
But you really don't.
No.
Because 70% of the flavor is all in the wrapper.
Yep.
So if you really just, grab all these little ones, and then, or Lanceros even, and really try to figure out what wrapper and what things you like, you're going to have a great selection that works for you.
What regulations do you have to abide by as far as being descriptive with the cigars?
We just, because then it comes down to the FDA thing, because then they're saying, we're saying there's flavor, and then we're bringing kids. That's really what it comes down to.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's because it's flavor and profile.
How many kids are knocking down B&M doors trying to get cigars?
Yeah, see, and that's the biggest argument. I mean, you look at, like you said, like the hand roll. You saw that scene that they did, that Tobacco-Free America. They have those kids looking at cigarellos and all these, Black and Mild. I mean, it's ridiculous.
So this has been a great conversation. Give us the website again.
OxfordCigarCompany.com. I need more cigars.com. OxfordCigarCo.com.
It really is a great online retailer where you can get killer deals, great cigars. You guys ship them perfectly every time. If there was one thing that you want your potential customers to know, or even your customers to know about what it is you do, what would that be?
Give us a shot. Try, shop around. And if you don't find something that you usually shop, ask. I would say we're pretty approachable. So just ask away. We'll try to accommodate you the best we can.
Absolutely. I mean, that's how Evan,
yeah.
You built the relationship with Evan. Have you built any other relationships with other people? I don't want to say Evan's media, but he's pretty much media. I mean, he puts out a ton of stuff. You built relationships with other media?
Not so much media, because, everybody really, when you speak media, they go cigar aficionado and so forth. I would say we built a lot of good relationships with manufacturers. I mean, that's how we really opened our account with Warped. It was actually a funny story. They saw we had the #1 review on YouTube for Warped GR88.
Really?
Yeah, we did and at the time I didn't even have a brick and mortar. We did a tasting with used to be Bellicosa Cigars and coffee.
Yeah.
Or a cafe. And it was like the number one watch on YouTube for that cigar. And they called us like, well, you portrayed our brand very well and very fairly. You know, would you like to open an account? Because we noticed you don't have a direct account. I mean, that's how we started.
Oh, wow.
So it's all about relationships. It really comes down to it.
It really is. The cigar industry is all about relationships. Hopefully this relationship you and I have will continue. Hopefully we'll see you at PCA.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. Lucas, thank you so much for sitting down with me. OxfordCigarCompany.com. I need more cigars.com. What was the other one?
OxfordCigarCo.com.
I love it. You guys are everywhere.
Yes. We try to be.
you can't miss it. Give them a shot. Thanks a lot for sitting down with me. I appreciate taking the time out of your.
I hope you enjoyed that.
Oh, absolutely. This has been fantastic. Like, this is legitimately a very good cigar.
See, and that's the thing, and it's under $10. So
That's
the one
amazing.
you particularly smoked is the Cuco Gran Toro.
Cuco Gran.
So it's a 6x54.
What's your favorite Vitola?
I like Robustos. I really do. I like Robusto because I feel like it's the middle between Toros. Because, I mean, Lancero you can be overwhelmed with flavor. So the Robusto is a good middle line with not too much filler and binder. I would say it's a good happy medium.
Is that where you think you taste more of the wrapper in a Robusto than you do any other?
Well, Lancero is still the best. As far as
Tasting the wrapper.
The Lancero is absolutely the best. But the Robusto gives you enough control for, I mean, especially like we're smoking outside, wind, burn. Because the way, I try to educate everybody, smoke a cigar. If you're a big barbecue guy, do it like a brisket, okay? You don't want to puff through it and burn it,
Right.
okay? And you also don't want to go too slow that you have to relight it. So you got to remember, it's the tobacco leaf, as you burn through it, the oils and, ferment and so forth. So take your time, enjoy, have a conversation like we're doing now. I mean, luckily we haven't had to do a relight.
No, it hasn't been windy at all. It's been great. It's beautiful out. It's oppressively hot,
Yeah, exactly.
but it is beautiful out. Lucas, thanks again.
Thank
I
you so
appreciate
much.
it. Join me next time where I don't know quite what I'll be talking about, but I promise it'll be Simply Stogies. Stay smoky, friends.
Thank you for listening to Simply Stogies. Please rate and review Simply Stogies on iTunes. You can follow James on his cigar journey on Instagram at Simply Stogies Podcast, all one word, and on Twitter at the Twitter handle at Simply Stogies.